Hi everyone, welcome to our weekly Q&A session, and today it's my pleasure to welcome here for the very first time our coach Brittany with me. Coach Brittany, you can find her in our bedtime app, and also you can find her on her own Instagram page, which is Mama Sleep Coach. So Brittany, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm super excited to be on here.
So, how did you get the chance to find a little to squeeze a little time for Q&A with your three little kids?
Yeah, I know it's been a busy season of life, but things were slowing down for the summer and which I'm very grateful for. So now I can put more time into sleep coaching.
Okay, this is actually great. For me, it's going to be more difficult to find time for sleep coaching because I'm going to have kids all the time at home, and it's going to be really hard to find this time. So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
funny. Yeah.
yeah, differently. So I'm glad when they are in the institutions, when they are at school on the the play group. So this is my time when I have a time to work. Okay. So I think we can start. And I have a first question, which I found. And the most difficult thing I am finding about Daniel's teachings is to stop expecting sleep. How can I do this? So, what is the first ideas, Brittany, when you read this?
Well, I think the idea that you need to stop expecting sleep can kind of create this like a bit thing that you need to like force your mind to stop doing something, which whenever we try to force our brain to stop thinking certain things, it actually can create more struggle. So I think if you can kind of recognize that, yeah, my brain is going to still expect me to sleep, but come at it in a more like neutral and like realistic way, that can be helpful. So we realize that yes, my brain expects sleep, but also kind of counteract that with, oh, but even if I don't sleep, things are going to be okay. And just trying to help our brain feel a little bit more at ease and realize that sleep isn't actually going to be the, one thing that will help you, feel more at ease and feel better the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the great thing what you said is that we need to have these more realistic expectations and be more kind of like neutral about this. And what also helped me is to really, really understand that we can't control sleep and that we can't control it. Then we can be a little bit more at ease that we are not sleeping. We can be more self-kindness towards ourselves. So thank you for this great answer. And we have a question from Brendan Anthony. Hi, Brendan. So, how do I not allow myself to overthink at night? And if I do, how can I feel calm and worry less about sleep? I know I can't control when or how long I'll sleep, but I hate having this every night. So, what do you think?
Yeah, that's very common to feel like your mind is racing and you're overthinking at night. And I remember going through that as well and just wishing that I could just shut my brain off and just be calm. But I think the more in my experience, the more I tried to like resist and ignore it, the stronger that message came, and the more I would overthink it. So I think just recognize that, oh yes, I'm having these thoughts. Allow yourself to have them, but try to do it in a less judgmental way. Like this is okay that I'm, thinking about sleep and how bad I'm sleeping or whatever it might be. But do it more like as an outsider looking in and in a more neutral way can be helpful. And just allow your brain to have those thoughts because the more you try to resist something, the stronger it is. Like if I say don't think about white elephants, you're going to be thinking about white elephants, and if I keep telling you that, stop it, stop it, stop it, you're going to just be like, well, now I can't. So I think, yeah,
Exactly.
overthinking is very, very common, but we do want to try to, take a step back and be like less judgmental about what our brain is telling us. And then at the same time, you know, back to those realistic expectations. Tell your brain, yeah, so what if I don't sleep? What will happen? Like, maybe I'll be tired the next day, but you're still going to be alive. You're still going to be able to enjoy parts of your day, and yeah, I think life will still move on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And when we are talking about the thoughts, and definitely I love the analogy, like if if you feel like when somebody would tell you like don't think about the white elephant, you definitely are going to think about the white elephant. That there was a psychological study like on this topic, and definitely one of the very helpful one of the very helpful tools or methods how to work with our thoughts was aha method. And I liked it because when I would say like, aha, this is my thought about not sleeping tonight, then when we say aha, in a way we kind of like accept this thought, we allow this thought to happen. And this is also important because so many times we are trying to push away the thought, to push away this white elephant, but this is impossible. But when we allow it, our brain understands like, hey, Brandon is hearing my signal, Brandon is hearing what I'm trying to say. So with this aha and allowing this thought, it's more likely that these thoughts will be less bothering too. And also, another way is to just describe the thought, like say, aha, what if I don't sleep tonight? Aha, this is a thought about not sleeping tonight. And you can do a little exercise here, Brandon. When when you find a moment, think about uh, say for a few times, like, what if I don't sleep tonight? What if I don't sleep tonight? What if I don't sleep tonight? And I'm sure that you can feel a tension growing inside of you. But if you say, like, aha, this is my thought about not sleeping tonight, you can say it several times in a row. But when you say it in this way that you describe this, uh, what happens is that the tension doesn't grow. It still might be unpleasant. It still might not be nice, but definitely the tension will not be so intense as when you have only this thought. And basically, when we talk about thoughts, it's not about it. It's not the problem that we have these thoughts. The problem is that we believe them. We identify with these thoughts. So, uh, another part of the question from Brendan is I found myself getting deep in thought about sleep in the hours before bed, but don't think about it all at all during the day. Was this also common for you, Brittany, or do you have another experience?
I think later on in my insomnia journey, when I was actually making progress, I stopped thinking about it during the day. So this is actually a good sign for you,
Mhm,
Brandon, because when I was in like the beginning stages when it was really bad, I would think about it all day, all night when I was awake.
mhm,
But as I started to, have more progress, started to like, let go a little bit more, accept more, I started, enjoying my day more and just, living my life. I think I would think about it less during the day, but then it would come sneak back into my mind at night. So
mhm.
yeah, I think that might actually be a great sign that you're making some strides.
Absolutely. So I totally agree, Brittany, because I have a similar experience too. When it feels like I thought about sleep day and night, just like you mentioned, but then it has shifted a little bit. I started to be more okay with the nights, but the anxiety shifted more to the day, and still I felt very uncomfortable. I felt very scary. And one of the aha moments for me was when I learned from Daniel that uh, insomnia is not, we don't live insomnia when we finally start sleeping. we live insomnia land, when we stop fearing insomnia. And basically, we have people also in our programs that they can sleep all night long, but eventually they still fear not sleeping. And they can have really long stretches of sleeping well, but still fearing this not sleeping. So definitely it is a good sign. And I believe that you are on a really good track, Brandon. And here's one more comment. It's been 2.5 years since I started, and for the past year, it hasn't bothered me during the day, just at night. But I sleep 4 or 5 hours every night, and on a great night, 6, 7 hours. But it's rare. Um, there is one idea that comes to my mind when I hear a time reference. I sleep 4 or 5 hours every night. What does it tell you, Brittany? Like when somebody tells like a time reference.
Yeah, that's, I mean, a good sign that this person's monitoring their sleep, and they're still kind of attached to that number, which we kind of want to, try to avoid, like, I know our brains naturally like to calculate and like to
Mhm.
like figure out all that numerical data, but when you put the numbers behind your sleep and try to like really problem solve, oh, I got 4.65 hours of sleep last night, not enough. That can actually create more pressure, and it makes your brain think, oh man, I really need to control this so that I can get more. So yeah, I think trying to, you know, avoid that, calculating your sleep and trying to avoid looking at the clocks can be really helpful. Because if you're not looking at the clock at night and then before you go to bed or when you wake up in the middle of the night, that can help your brain, like, everything becomes a little bit more fuzzy and you're like, I really don't know how much I slept. It could have been 6 hours, could have been 8 hours. Like, I think, yeah, trying to avoid the clocks can help take away some of that pressure and control, and just as much as you can, which is it's really hard to try to avoid calculating how many hours you slept the night before. It can be helpful as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Brittany, and I have a thank you note from Brendan also. Thank you, guys. You're welcome anytime. And so we have a question from Ryan. So, hi Ryan. I struggle with being able to tell if I actually slept when I wake up. I don't feel like I sleep deeply, but I don't remember being awake. Any tips for this? So, this is very familiar experience. What are your thoughts, Brittany?
Yeah, this can be like that hypersleep that a lot of people experience, where you don't feel like you slept at all, but there's like these little micro sleeps, but that hyperarousal is still there. So it's, I remember going through this as well, and it was kind of like when I was getting better but still struggling quite a bit, I would have nights where I'm like, did I sleep? But I don't remember being awake the whole night. So I think it's a lot of it is you have that hyperarousal that's still there, and so your sleep is like it's in a lighter stage. And I think just the awareness around this and acceptance is really all you need to do. Aware, yes, I have hyperarousal that's, creating this sleep that's a little more hyper sleep, and um eventually it will fade if the more you just become more aware of it, the more you allow it to be there and just accept it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And I would say, like, to assume that uh, we sleep more than we think, and also,
Mhm.
or in a way, when we don't know whether we slept or not, it's better to assume, like, okay, I slept. So look at the glass half full rather than half empty, right? And I have a perfect question for you, Brittany, because we have a question from Jane, Yana or Jane. Uh, by the way, for those who are watching us, Brittany is also a health coach, and she is doing also an Ironman. And the question is, what do you think about exercising when you have severe insomnia? Maybe after 3 nights with 3 hours sleep, did you do sport? I am in recovery, sleeping much more now, but with many speed bumps. I'd like to join a Pilates course, but I'm afraid that I can't go there because I'm too tired and feeling like a zombie. So, what do you think, Brittany?
Yeah. So I actually had that very same experience where when I was sleeping not so well, like I still wanted to be exercising and working out. And initially I was like, oh, I have no energy. It's not going to be like good for my body if I exercise on no sleep. But then I started to realize, hey, I have to actually continue with my life and not let insomnia control me. And throughout the course of my insomnia journey, like I had actually signed up to do an Ironman race. And um, so, like, during the peak training for Ironman, I was starting to sleep a little bit better, but I would still have a lot of speed bumps. And so there'd be nights where I'd only sleep a few hours, and I'd have to the next day go out and, do a 5-hour bike ride and stuff like that. And initially that was scary for me, but I decided I just need to do it, face my fears, and exercise on no sleep. And it actually, I enjoyed myself at the exercise. I found it was fun to do. My body wasn't really any more tired afterwards than it would be on a normal day if I slept 8 hours. So I think a lot of times in these situations, our fear can be so strong, but our mind and our body is actually capable of so much more than we realize. And so I think it would be a great idea just to excuse me, to try to exercise and to just, push yourself out of that comfort zone a little bit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And definitely, Brittany, you are a big inspiration for everybody who is like, who wants to exercise and is experiencing insomnia. And if I have any client on bedtime, I always recommend watching your story because what you shared, like you did an Ironman and you barely slept the nights before this, this is a huge achievement and huge inspiration. So I'm really, really thankful for your contribution and that you shared your story. So this is really, really great. Um, and right, we have a question from Prelian9. Hi, Prelian. Does sleep even matter? This is really philosophical question. And from all the teachings, I know tiredness correlates with anxiety and our mental fortitude. Less sleep does actually not lead to long-term problems from Daniel's teachings, etc. So, what do you think, Brittany?
I think when we're talking about insomnia, it's not really about sleep. It's about that fear and just yeah, the fear of just being awake and how that's going to affect your life. So yeah, and I think when I'm talking about insomnia, then yeah, the sleep in itself doesn't really matter because that's not actually what we're trying to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, if you're like a normal person is going to prefer to get sleep, and most people feel a little bit better when they sleep, but insomnia really isn't about the sleep. It's about all the layers going on and underneath, that's the stuff that's going on in your mind. It's about overcoming that fear, learning how to be a lot more kind and gentle to yourself, and learning how to be a little bit more courageous as well, and do things that are going to help you overcome that fear.
Absolutely, this is a great answer, and yeah, this, this is like really such a such a question. Like, does sleep even matter? Um, when we don't struggle with sleep, we strongly believe that sleep is one of the most important things in our lives. Like, we must have it because when we don't sleep, we feel terrible. But once we lose it, we need to find our way through the insomnia recovery and understanding that sleep does not matter. So that it does not matter in a way that we still can do about our day. We can still do about our plans, our goals, our life. And eventually, as a byproduct of living our life, the sleep will happen once again. So, yeah, thank you for this really, really nice, interesting question, Prelian. And let's do one last question again from Brandon Anthony, sorry. And I sometimes wonder if it's better to not consume content about sleep at all, so it lowers its importance. Because I grasp teaching of Daniel already, but always watch these when I feel more struggles. So, what are your thoughts, Brittany? This is also a good teaching, a good question, and very common from those who are already longer on this journey of
Yeah,
recovery. So,
yeah,
definitely, what's your thoughts?
I think that's a good question. Yeah, I remember for me in the beginning stages, consuming as much content as I could was actually very comforting and just very helpful because I was like, oh, I understand this now. And yeah, it was all it did was help me. But later on my path, I realized I did have to take a step back and just live my life and not consume as much and not be so focused on insomnia because otherwise would stay in that insomnia world.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, consuming less content later down the road was actually helpful because I started thinking about sleep less and less. So I think about, not my insomnia journey less and less. And that actually helped me to slowly just let go more and more. So I think it really just depends on where you're at in your journey, um, and how you're feeling too when you consume the content. Like if you're consuming it and it makes you feel good and comfortable, or like you enjoy it, then it might still be okay to keep watching the videos and all that. But if you feel like watching them or reading any insomnia content is actually making you just more like in that insomnia, is it like thinking about insomnia, thinking about your sleep, and it's actually creating more anxiety, then that might be a sign. Yeah, take a step back, just focus on your life, live in your life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for this answer. This is great. And one more, what I would add is that, as Daniel's book indicates, set it and forget it. And in some way, you also need to in a way, like forget it, forget the sleep topic, doing this kind of a detox. But another thing that I see in people who are more advanced in this journey, uh, that they use these kind of like this education, these videos, like a sleep effort. Okay, I go for a reassurance here. I go and watch more videos so I have this comfort. But before watching the videos, what you can try, Brendan, is to allow this uncertainty, allow being not sure and insecure, because eventually there are no guarantees on this recovery journey. No one can tell you for sure, like you are going to sleep tonight, you are going to have a perfect night. You never know what's going to happen the next moment, let alone the next during several hours of night. So allowing this uncertainty to be and stepping back from consuming the content might be a helpful step towards like getting more advanced towards another stage of insomnia recovery. So this is something to think about for you, Brandon. And since we got to the end of our Q&A session today, I thank you very much, Brittany, for joining me. And I thank you for those who posted the questions. I thank you those who are watching us today. And the next one will be in 2 weeks because I'll be on holiday next week. So yeah, so have a great time, everybody, by then, and take care. Bye bye.
Bye.